WarDogs, where their bark is not as painful as your bite. So this is WarDogs. It's a cool Streets of Rage 2 like. Story is really fun to play. You can just choose either missions or story, but just getting like the background information, the lore of the game, just makes the game worth continuing, because otherwise it's kind of like a bit more mindless. So the story is actually really interesting. It's set in a universe where there was a plague that pretty much wiped out all of humanity, and they've resorted then to gene slice for some reason with dogs. So at first I thought it was just an alternate universe where dogs live on Earth, but no, it's actually these are humans that have sliced themselves into humanoid dogs. So it's kind of a weird story, but kind of interesting at the same time. To survive, and you know, there's different dog breeds in this game, and you know, your main character Red has been away in some sort of like international tournament where he's boxing or MMA fighting, something like that, and you return back to your hometown and you realize this one gang is coming out in force and trying to take over the whole city, and you learn more from there, and you know, you have to take on the gang with you, the gangs that are invading with your gang. And the music's got some cool upbeat electronica. It gets you into the brawling mood. I feel like it really does a lot to help this game, you know, with the atmosphere and everything. The music's kind of repetitive, but it's ambient, so that you don't really notice it. Like, it's not in your face so much. There's basic beat 'em up attacks that you would expect, like jump kick, punch, and then there's the typical special move. There's like a whirlwind move, there's like a healing option, which is neat, which I didn't really use at first, and then there's a power-up attack, and I think there's a shield. I think it's just a power-up attack. And the graphics are kind of like in a PS3 mid-range of rendered models. The backgrounds are actually really well done, I think, like just for setting the mood, like sort of I don't think they stand out so much, but they do enough to like really make you feel like you're there. They're just unfortunately not as interactive as the boxes that you come across as you punch your way through the streets against the enemies. There's also some weapons. A lot of the boxes are empty from what I saw, but there's occasional steel pipe, and I'm sure there's other stuff. So the hordes of dogs, yeah, there's a lot of repetition, a lot of the same, I think 2 to 4 enemies. I'm about a third of the way through the game when I stopped. But it's not so bad. It's not ridiculous. It's a decent amount, a steady amount of enemies given to you to fight. The game is fun, but I feel like even as an indie game, the controls are kind of loose. Like, I feel like when you jump, he responds a bit too quickly, or sometimes it feels delayed, so it depends on what move you're doing. Yeah, I just feel like it's a little bit too loose or unresponsive. Like, I adapted to it, but it's playable with a bit of patience. You get used to it. But the enemies in groups are extremely dangerous. Like, sometimes beat 'em ups are like this, where you approach a group and like you're just gonna get juggled like crazy. And I've seen a few beat 'em ups over the years that we've reviewed that are kind of like this. The main thing you have to do is you have to like run in, punch a little bit, and then like run away until the numbers are down to like maybe 2 enemies. Because if you have fighting 4 to 6, like, it just gets out of control. So yeah, so that you get drained, your life bar gets drained with cheap shots, unfortunately, when this happens. There's 8 campaign scenarios. Now, makes it sound like the game's super big, but you can finish a level, and there's 8 levels rather than that are like 20 or 30 minutes each. So it's actually a pretty short game. Yeah, because you could pretty much finish a third of the game in an hour or less. And there's some bosses too. The bosses aren't super hard. They're pretty easy to tackle if you use your like healing powers and just play smartly. And then I discovered the implants in this game. Like, there's a shop, you can unlock accessories. So there's hats, cool shades, new pants, new shoes, new shirts, and then there's implants that like you can add to a bar with like maybe 6 different options, and you buy them in the shop, and I haven't used them yet, but I assume they really boost up your character. And he wasn't weak in the first place, but I'm sure he's like super strong now with these implants that you can buy from the store. So there's a lot of like, you're pretty much going to be coming back to unlock everything if you really enjoy this and just upgrade your character. My biggest criticism is there's no two-player mode, so this game I feel like it would last a lot longer if you had someone that could jump in with you and like you can both unlock things together. But it's only priced at $4.65, which is actually an amazing deal for this game. I feel like overall for the price and just the fun, I feel like this was the best game of the week. Goodnight was just too hard for most people and not super fun unless you're into that. And then the second game, it was a game of patience in a different way. But this was the game pretty much that you could jump in, enjoy right away. So it's a solid investment, $4, $5 for a few hours of gameplay. Probably my favorite brawler for this year, actually, outside the Streets of Rage 4 DLC. So yeah, other than the loose controls and lack of two-player mode, it's a solid 8.5 because the price is a really good deal. I've seen beat 'em ups for higher than this, and like they're nowhere near as good or as fun. So the interesting story just makes you want to play to the very end, and I wanted to keep playing, but I also have to record the review as well. So I would just say, like, keep barking madly in the streets and take on all the gangs you find. So bark away on that one. Bye.